What's up, y'all? Hello, hello, hello. How's it going? How is it going? I'll let y'all pull up for a moment. But yes, it is Sunday and there's a lot going on. I'm not in a great mood. I'm going to be honest. My Mars return officially started Friday. Um and when that happens, once Mars gets to 7 degrees of Leo, where it is in my chart, everything for the rest of the transit is just going to be on my nerves because it aspects the rest of my chart after that. So I'm annoyed. Um, Obviously, family related stuff because it's in my third house. And I'm gonna just be real with y'all. Like, if you have any transphobia in you still, you need to work that out. You need to work that out. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of hearing about all this conversation around trans athletes. I'm tired of hearing about Nene and T.S. Madison's conversation. I'm tired of hearing about people being confused about their sexuality if they like trans people. I'm tired of the bisexual versus pansexual arguments. I'm tired of all of it. So I literally don't care anymore, sis. People need to get it together because I'm sick of it. Our lives are not worth debating. Or not, wait, that's not what I mean. Our lives are not up for debate. We deserve respect and autonomy and dignity, just like everybody fucking else. So whatever it is that you still got hangups around trans people, work that shit out away from us in private and stop letting your negative opinions influence other people. Just mind your business. That's all. That's how I feel. How are you guys doing? Um, I know most of that doesn't apply to you guys because you're here. Thank you for being here. Yeah, how are y'all doing? It's gross outside. Mercury enters Cancer today. I don't think it's happened yet. I think that happens this afternoon. Yeah, that doesn't happen until like 4 o'clock Central Time, so we still have some time before that happens. But we do have Sun Square Saturn today, which I think is a lot of the itchiness and a lot of the fuckery and nonsense in the world. So we are in. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That sounds terrible. Um, yes, yesterday was rough. Hey, Desiree. Don't love it. Don't love it. Not here for it. Yeah, sending you so much love and softness and ease with that because that sounds terrible. Yeah, if you don't know, Trump allegedly bombed Iran yesterday, and that was just a really fucked up, unnecessary thing to do. They're basically doing weapons of mass destruction circa 2001 again, with Iran trying to say that they have nuclear weapons. They don't. They don't have nuclear weapons. I believe any nuclear capabilities they have were towards energy, like nuclear energy for the area. So, government is lying again and spreading the weapons of mass destruction lie, just like they did after 9/11. And they are definitely manufacturing consent for it. And people have already started their Islamophobia and their Arab phobia as well. Just don't fall for it. Y'all are smarter than that, so I know. But if you're unaware, um, our government just does this every so often when they feel like it. It's all tied up in stuff with Israel. It's also tied up with stuff in China, as far as I know, because Iran and China are allied in a particular way. So Iran is the proxy for China, I believe. That could be not entirely true, but I'm pretty sure this has more to do with Israel and China than it even does with Iran specifically. So very annoying that we're doing this again. If you are concerned about wars being fought in the US, that's not usually what happens. The wars are usually fought in the Middle East, and all of those people usually have to suffer for our sins. So just keep that in mind whenever you're talking about it, to have a little bit of awareness and empathy. Um, and this is not a Trump thing. This is a US thing. So, yeah, exactly. Right on time. Republicans have wanted to bomb Iran forever. Yeah, and Democrats are on they're also going along with it as well. This is US foreign policy regardless of party. This is um bipartisan in that sense. So, yeah, voting this is not something that voting would have affected. They've been chomping at the bit to do some mess. Halo. So, uh, I tried to figure out astrologically like what's going on, and I've titled this live today Mercury retrograde season because Mercury is going to retrograde in Cancer. And just like I said last week, there's something about these Cancer and Gemini transits that are trying to get our attention. So I don't think it's a coincidence that at this last degree of Gemini, um, with Mercury at this last degree of Gemini, that some shit would go down internationally. And if you remember when we read the Aries ingress, even though I didn't make any specific predictions around war, I did say that the majority of it was about foreign affairs. And so it's looking more and more like that's the main priority. And then any financial consequences that any financial consequences that we endure are likely a consequence of that. So that shit's annoying. And I do think a lot of that is related to this Cancer stuff. I think we said a while back, if I can remember correctly, we said something about like Cancer transits having to do with people in power leveraging control over resources and um control over resources and how that impacts our relationship with our needs or something like that. Also global warming related stuff. So I am anticipating, especially because it's summertime. So hurricane seasons, tornado seasons just passed, and those, well, I don't even know if tornado season has passed. Still dealing with tornadoes, about to be dealing with hurricanes and any other type of environmental fallouts that come from this war shit. More of that. I'm not feeling great. Not feeling great about it. I'm also not looking forward to. We still have a few more weeks of Mars and Leo left, but I'm extra not looking forward to Mars and Virgo now, which starts July 28th. Because if we're already in gaslight territory with Saturn and Jupiter doing the most, um, and all of these Gemini transits, I don't know what I just don't want to deal with three major planets in mutable signs for several weeks. And that will happen while we're having eclipses too, I'm pretty sure. So feeling really deflated. Hey Elizabeth, welcome in. Yeah, tired of Cancer transits. Me too. And we're gonna have to deal with so many of them for the rest of the year. It's just like we gotta get used to it. I was just I was feeling optimistic about, I don't know if optimistic is the word, because we did kind of say that Mars conjunct the South Node was gonna bring some bullshit, and here we are. Also Trump's Mars return in his first house, so of course he was gonna crash out at some point. So we do have a lot of transits this week. I listed them all in the description. But transits this week, like I said, Mercury enters Cancer later today. Sun square Saturn tonight goes exact. And then on the 24th, we have the Sun conjunct Jupiter. So both the Sun and Jupiter in Gemini together, leading up to our new moon in Gemini on Wednesday. And then on Saturday, Mercury trine Saturn. So lots of aspects this week. It's going to feel busy and noisy. And then once we get to next Sunday, back on the Taurus bullshit one last time this year with Venus in Taurus. So wait, is Venus going to square Mars at all? I'm very curious because she is going to speed up a little bit, but she might not catch up to Mars. I hope she doesn't, to be honest. Oh, she is. July 23rd, Venus square Mars. Hate that. Gross. So I don't know. Weird things on the way. And I tried listening to a lot of geopolitics this morning to get a sense of something, and it's honestly just a lot. It's a lot to process, and I don't want to spread misinformation since there's already enough of that going around. But I do want to pull cards for the new moon because what the helly? What the hell? What the helica? So let's just do that. Let's just see what tarot has to say for us. Because I don't know, man. Just too much. Yeah, there's a lot of manufacturing consent going on out there. And it is bullshit. Hey, Jem. Give us the tea. Just so much lying and violence and death. It's endless. It's endless. And every day Texas passes some new bullshit law. Although I will say we did get a win. Trans rights, we did get a win that they at least gonna let us have our damn passports back. Set up the way that we want them. So there's at least that. Less mismatched documents. But I don't love that AI has started creating the AI influencers like they said they were going to do. Those are really disturbing if you've seen them. They really do look like real people. They're probably going to use those for bad as well. Okay. To the elevated and healed ancestors and spirits. Thank you for getting us through. And honestly, there's so much bad going on right now. I would just love a sober assessment. State Department has not given instructions yet, and trans folks are still getting turned away. Well, I know Texas at least doesn't care and is not letting anybody change any of their documents. So you're not allowed to do that here. Regardless. But we will see. Maybe, I don't know, maybe. I feel like doing a Jada, tell me something good. But I also don't need it to necessarily be something good. I would like both a sober assessment of what's going on right now and just had two friends who got turned away at the post office. Yeah. I would like a sober assessment of what's going on right now, and then I would also like a little bit of, well, I guess I have to pick, don't I? A sober assessment of the times, but what are the things? I don't know. I don't know exactly what to ask. I might just have to borrow Tell Me Something Good for a minute. I trust that Spirit knows what we need to know. Ancestors know what we need to know. And I will appreciate whatever that message is, good or bad. I would just like to know what it is that we need to know about this moment and how to navigate. coming up on this Gemini full moon. I mean, excuse me, Gemini new moon this Wednesday. What's getting started and how do we move through it? Remember, Mercury in Gemini will be the ruler of this new moon, and Mercury will retrograde in Gemini. So we're going to be dealing with Mercury in Gemini or Mercury in Cancer for a few weeks. So yeah, just what do we need to know? What's going on? What's really good? Mm. Okay. Card on the bottom. Oh, Ace of Pentacles. Okay. Okay. Okay, not the worst. I like an ace. I'm a big fan of an ace. So that is our context. Ace of Pentacles. Let's pull some cards. We have 10 of Pentacles. Ooh. 10 of Pentacles. Okay, period. Working with a lot of Pentacles right now. 6 of Swords. Okay. 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 And 7 of Pentacles. Wow, so many Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles is not bad either. Okay, so this is not a bad spread. So I guess they're trying to tell us it's not the worst. This is not the worst moment ever. Well. 10 of Pentacles, 6 of Swords, 7 of Pentacles with Ace of Pentacles on the bottom. Hmm. It is funny. I was thinking while I was shuffling, when I was trying to figure out what to say, what to ask for, I was like, where is the opportunity in this, in all of this? Like, what is the opportunity? And I do see this as like a card that is opportunistic. Um, we see the hand holding out one big pentacle and then this, you know, gated, walled up, whatever area, but the door is wide open. So, you know, it's not it's not a bad omen whatsoever. There's an opportunity here. Ace of Pentacles, Pentacles in general, usually earth related, speaking to some sense of or something about resources, something about I think the question we like to ask about Pentacles is like, besides money, what are other things? Um, what are other resources that you have access to? Ace of Pentacles showing that there is access, there is availability. Um, but especially because it's an ace and we are coming up on a new moon, I think that does say something about an opportunity, a new beginning, initiating something. So, um, okay, we'll start with that then as the context. Our first card for the situation, our circumstances, is the 10 of Pentacles. So we see like a multi-generational family going on here, a couple of dogs, little kids, an older relative. And there's usually something to be said about like legacy or generational wealth or familial resources. You can maybe even throw in communal resources, I think, but there's really something to be said about like legacy whenever I see 10 of Pentacles. Like what is going to be your legacy? What's going to be the thing that you pass on to your loved ones or that you leave for your loved ones? And just kind of making a statement about what you already have, and like making good use of that, or um having a sense of like gratitude and appreciation for that as well. So there's something about like kind of having what we need in this spread, especially because Six of Swords, like in the position that would be like the obstacle in a way. I think, well, if this is meant to be an obstacle, I guess there's an aspect of this card where normally this is like, sailing away into clear waters, right? Like quite literally coming from this choppy water, and even the snake like onto these clear waters into the sunset. And there's a sense of like refuge and relief associated with this card. But I wonder if it could also be like escaping or running from your problems kind of a thing, or bypassing in some kind of a way, if this is meant to be an obstacle or something to overcome. Um, so maybe there's a desire to, I don't know, maybe there is a desire to run away or to get away. Yeah, a bunch of different knives here as well. Hmm. But sixes are usually celebratory, so maybe the obstacle is trying to celebrate. Like trying to celebrate's a strong word, but maybe the obstacle is like trying to find peace. Like trying to find peace, trying to find refuge amidst all of this chaos, right? It's something that we're craving. It's something that apparently we have the resources. You know, and then there's this card. This is kind of making me feel like Seven of Pentacles in the solution position is kind of is like Seven of Pentacles in general is like reflecting on, your hard work, or being contemplative about like how to make being I know it's contemplative. Um it's a little bit reflective. You see how he's looking up at, the pentacles up in the tree, and got this stick thing going on that could potentially be, hey Sloan, that potentially could be, like he's doing work out in the field or whatever, or like these are supposed to be trees. um are you saying resources coming into focus about this card? Because maybe this is making me think about, um hold on, let me, well, what's coming to mind when I thought about like Six of Swords in the middle as like it being hard to find like a sense of peace or refuge from all of the chaos, and having that come after Ten of Pentacles with Ace of Pentacles is kind of making me feel like resources coming into just in general with all the pentacles. Yeah. It's making me think about this. I kind of already said this, but it's making me think about this conversation online where people are talking about how, like, on the one hand, there's people freaking out saying, like, oh no, Iran, like, please spare us, just get that man, like, or people who are freaking out, like, what's gonna happen to me? Like, what's gonna happen to us? Like, um, people who are Americans basically being anxious about the attacks coming over here. But then there are people on the other end of the spectrum who are saying like, hey, this is not about y'all. Like the wars that are going to be fought will be fought in other countries for the most part, and like you will be spared because this is how all of this is designed, right? Like um America's whole thing is war, starting wars, fighting wars, intervening in other countries, using other countries to do their bidding, and doing things overseas so that they don't have to be done here on American soil, right? Like that's our whole thing. And so us as people who live here benefit from these things happening elsewhere instead of us literally living in a war-torn country, right? And I think we forget a lot of times that the reason that we are shielded from all of that is because other people often pay the price. And so there's those two arguments going on. And then there's a third argument that I'm seeing where it's like, hey, so we have all this money to spend on our military and on weapons and national security and national defense, and no money to spend on our actual needs, our actual infrastructure, healthcare, housing. Like, one thing that China has done and that China has said is that, like, Americans, I don't know if they said this about Americans, but I know that I know there's been some kind of commentary around, like, Americans use all of their money for war and for, this whole global hegemony thing. Meanwhile, China's been building up their country, with their money under their leadership or whatever. And it's not to say that, you know, everything they do is right and better, but there is something to be said for actually investing in your country versus basically bleeding your citizens out financially to do bad shit all over the world. And so they are light years ahead of us in terms of being able to manufacture and take care of their citizens while we're over here being neglected. I use the word neglected because cardinal transits usually bring up neglect. And so while we get to be protected from war while being the people who are initiating it elsewhere and then blaming it on other people, uh China's just like chilling. And so this in some ways is like a way of, well, anyway, so I say all of that to say that, like, we as American citizens who don't want this shit, who just want our needs met, and who have more than enough resources to make that happen, instead of, and this is my opinion more than it is like a cards thing. I'll figure out what the cards are saying in a moment. But what I'm thinking is, like, this kind of third argument is, hey, we're still trying to, like, get our needs met by our own country. And so instead of, like, centering ourselves in what's happening in the Middle East, we are kind of back at square one, like we've been saying with Palestine, that if we can figure out some way to, like, rebel against our government to make them stop doing bad shit in other parts of the world, then other parts of the world don't have to suffer and we don't have to suffer. Like, it's that shared suffering thing, because we're spending so much money on war, we can't take care of ourselves at home. And at the same time, because all of our money goes to war, we're protected from the instability that we're causing everywhere else. So it's really kind of giving, like, projection in the Leo way of, like, people are so quick to make comments um about Arab nations and um Muslim nations where, their women are oppressed and their women are this and that, and, well, gay people, they shoot gay people over there, blah blah blah, like, whatever propaganda people spread over here. It's like, well, what about what we're doing to women and gay people and black people? Like, yeah, other countries are anti-black, so are we. Like, yeah, other countries maybe are dealing with oppressive situations towards certain identities, but so are we. So, like, when do we focus on our shit and the problems that we have and actually do something about those, and try to focus on those? We are literally dealing with our government attacking us, you know um between everything happening with ICE and everything happening with cop cities, everything that's happened at any protest that we've tried to have. It's like, all of these, we keep saying all of these things are connected, And we still and we still don't realize that, like, yeah, whatever we're doing to other nations, we're also doing to ourselves. Whatever we're accusing other nations of doing, we're doing to ourselves. And yeah, exactly. It doesn't make it right to bomb people. It's never going to make sense that bombing people is going to set them straight. It's the whole idea of spanking your children is going to make them more obedient. Like, what are we talking about? Why do we resort to violence? And we know why, but it's just like, okay. So anyway, that's kind of what the spread was making me think about, in this way of like, in some ways being safe, but also not even really being able to make good use of all of the resources that we have access to. So, what is the opportunity in all of this then that the Ace of Pentacles is trying to point at? Like, I do think some of it is self awareness work, because we do still have Mars and Leo. And I do think, like, shedding this idea that, like, we're better than everybody else as a nation, like, we have to get rid of that. The arrogance and the hubris that we have as Americans, as the US, not so much us, like you people listening to this, but also maybe us too. You know, we all have, if we incorporate Gemini into it too, we all have a little bit of condescension and I'll have a little bit of condescension to work through. We all have a little bit of holier than thou to work through. We all have a bit of my way is better than your way to work through, because that's just the result of growing up in America, being an American. So I do think some of that calls the American identity into question. And like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know really what this means. Like, I think we are supposed to get that the whole damn system is guilty as hell, and we're implicated in that. And there's just so much more that we could be doing. But I think if we're talking about like the self-centeredness of the US, because this comes up a lot. Like, on the one hand, I don't think it's wrong to because I deal with this a lot, right? Like, I have this placement, I have Scorpio placements, and this idea of self-preservation, like, I think self-preservation can look multiple ways. One of the ways it can look is defensive, in a way that you're not willing to take accountability for your actions, and instead just defending and justifying them all the time because of XYZ reasons that might be valid, but still you're doing bad things to make up for bad things happening to you, hurt people type stuff. Like, you don't want to do that, but you do have to have, like, self-preservation can also look like dignity and self-respect, in the sense that, okay, well, I don't want to let my government play in my face anymore. I don't want to just believe and take at face value everything that they tell me, whenever I know that the experience I'm having doesn't match up with the story and the narrative that's being fed to me. Um, and if we're going to center ourselves in any part of this conversation, we need to center the fact that the money that should be being used towards actually making America great is being used to bully everybody else. And instead of victimizing ourselves, like, oh no, other countries are going to retaliate. Like, fuck yeah, they're going to retaliate. Hello. They should, right? But like, um yeah, we got to figure out what our fight is in this, and focus on that instead of all this other bullshit, finger pointing bullshit that we're doing. You know, if so and so, if y'all would have voted for this person, or if y'all would have did this, y'all would have did that. It's like, okay, well, we would have done all that, and America still would have did what America does. How are we supposed to get what we need when all of our tax dollars are going to genocides? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. So that's what that's making me think of, but I'm gonna read through the little booklet here and see what it says, because those are just my thoughts, and I'm interjecting into the conversation. Ace of Pentacles, get that garden. Like all aces, the Ace of Pentacles represents an opportunity. The Suit of Pentacles is about corporeal things, the real stuff that results from all the thinking, feeling, and dreaming that we do in the other suits. The Suit of Pentacles is grounded in reality, thus the opportunity the Ace of Pentacles represents is a tangible one. This is a card for new jobs, new homes, money coming your way, or a new relationship with your body. Ooh, ding, ding, ding. It's not a promise that any of these things will work out perfectly for you, but it is an open door. Beneath the godlike hand, offering you the shining golden pentacle is a verdant gate, which I pointed out when I looked at it earlier. Past the gate is a beautiful garden, lush with fruit and opportunity. Will you go inside? What seeds will you plant there? In readings, the Ace of Pentacles encourages you to nourish whatever opportunity is being presented to you. If none seem to be coming your way, seek them out. Apply for that job, plant a garden, get a gym membership, or start selling your handmade jewelry on the internet. Sometimes we have to make our own opportunity. And I do think it's interesting that this is the card above the Six of Swords. So if we bring this down to a personal level and we're not talking about the world, um, on the individual level, hold on. I don't know if I like that yet. I'll come back to that thought. Ten of Pentacles, prosperity that you can pass on. An elder looks upon his home from a position of pride and comfort. He is surrounded by his multi generational family. He is financially capable of sharing with his family and ensuring that they will be supported in the future, which leaves him feeling happy and content. This is a card about finishing on a high note. When Ten of Pentacles appears for you, it affirms that your choices and actions have culminated in material stability. If you are in a Ten of Pentacles position, use your excess wealth for good. If you have a family, consider their future and set them up for success. Be charitable to good causes. How can you help the next generation? If this card comes at you at a crossroads or when the comforts of the Ten of Pentacles feel impossibly far away, it's time to start thinking long term. The Ten of Pentacles suggests that your time of scrappy living should come to an end. This is a great time to plan for the future, invest in something secure, or allow your personal life to develop into a family. Picture your high note and make decisions that will help you get closer to it. It's kind of funny too, because this is also making me think about how we support each other through these hard times, especially through war times, because things are going to get more expensive than they already have, than they've already been going to get more expensive. And um we have to take care of each other through all of this. So um it's making me think of when people talk about doing a general strike. Like a general strike would mean people have to not go to work and not get paid. So then the people who do have money to share, to spread around, should do that. If that's something we were going to work towards or anything similar to it. Um in some ways, like, we have to start making some kind of sacrifice for each other. But I think, yeah, in general, this is, if we go with this wanting to tell us something good, it's giving a lot of, like, you already have everything that you need. You just need to do something with that. So if we're looking at Six of Swords here in the middle, it's the refugee card. That's ominous. The water behind the boat is choppy. The man in the boat moves forward towards smoother waters and a brighter horizon. He is on a journey to a new land, leaving a difficult situation behind him. When the Six of Swords comes up for you, you are likely in a bad situation and need to make a difficult choice about whether to stay or leave. This card urges you to make the journey. Because this is a sword card, we know that your choice should be made with the power of your logic and intellect. Maybe you're in a bad relationship, or maybe it's time for you to break ties with a situation that isn't working. You might be considering a literal geographic move. I call the Six of Swords the refugee card because it makes me think of people who are forced to make the brave choice to leave their country to escape grave danger. This is hitting a little too close to home. The immediate repercussions of this choice will be difficult, but in the long term, you will be happier and safer in your new destination. So, this card with the card in front of it being the Ten of Pentacles both say something about planning for the long term or playing the long game and making decisions that will be uncomfortable up front, but will pay off in the long term, whether they pay off directly to you or they benefit people in your lineage or the generations behind you. It's showing to do the hard thing now, that leads you towards peace and has longer lasting, stable material benefits. And then 7 of Pentacles in the final position. This is what we need to do. This is the action. This is your action step. So, um your action step is 7 of Pentacles, take a contemplative break. Sevens are about reflecting upon your situation. The person in this card has paused working to consider his garden's progress. Your garden is a thought out investment that is intended to sustain you in the long term. There's that word again. You're It's time to observe what you've built so far and ask yourself if you're still on the right path. And maybe you are. The 7 of Pentacles isn't here to pat you on the back or tell you that you need to start over. It's simply asking you to take a moment and think about your project or your job, your house, your relationship to your body, whatever else you've been working on, and how it's affecting you. Is this path sapping your energy and not giving enough back? Perhaps something can be done to improve the situation. Maybe this project, job, exercise routine, or idea just isn't worth your time. Or maybe everything is going great, in which case, good job, you. Take a moment to bask in your imminent success. Regardless of how prolific your efforts have been, the 7 of Pentacles asks you to intentionally reflect on their result. If your garden is good, admire it. If it sucks, figure out why. Well, this is super helpful to me personally, actually, in addition to somewhat reassuring. I love that on the broader scale. It is. I would agree. Um, it is. So that last card especially kind of is making me think about the transits a bit more that are coming up. The ones that I'm talking about that get started this afternoon. Um, so the main ones I'm thinking about again, new moon in Gemini is exactly conjunct Jupiter. And Jupiter's in Gemini until next year. So this new moon is setting a precedent basically for the rest of this transit and for whatever is supposed to be the lesson that you learn or the seeds that you're planting in your Gemini house. They also apply to literally how you think about your Gemini house, the stories and the narratives that you have about your Gemini house, the beliefs that you have about your Gemini house. Um, all of those things, all of those things are subject to change, basically moving forward. Something about this moment, especially because this new moon will be ruled by Mercury in Cancer. Something about this moment is supposed to be teaching you how to take care of some aspect of yourself, your needs, your body, your familial relationships, whatever Cancer things represent for you. So you're looking at your Cancer house to create new meaning. Wait, is this right? You are creating, let me start over. You're creating new meaning in your Gemini house because of what Mercury retrograde is going to do in your Cancer house. Does that make sense? Um, the things in your Cancer house are contributing to the seeds being planted in your Gemini house. So what does that look like for you in terms of um, your needs, your resources, your relationships, your own relationship to your body and your feelings? Yeah, same. Cancer is my second house, Gemini is my first house. So I think I already kind of know what this is supposed to be for me. Gross. 12th house getting lit up. Yay, you. Yeah, yeah, you. Does that mean you have Cancer risings? Yeah. Um okay, so that being said, I said last week that the Gemini and Cancer stuff to me feels a lot like I don't really know how to take care of myself. Let me get everybody else's perspective. Let me learn about how everybody else is managing in this moment. And then the actual Cancer transit will show you what you actually do and don't have control over in terms of your needs, your body, your feelings, your emotions, and what you can do, what you need to do, what you need to feel in order to um what you need to feel in order to yeah, that makes the 6 of swords make sense because there is that discomfort, that conversation about discomfort again, but like the whole thing that The whole thing about Cancer transits to me is like, hmm, Cancer transits, excuse me, Cancer transits as I yawn. Something that I learned from the Mars retrograde in Cancer and Gemini was that when I don't listen to my body, there are consequences for that. And I genuinely believe cardinal transits are a lot about just natural consequences, of our actions or lack of action or inaction or whatever you want to call it. Because if I'm tired and I continue to push my body past its limits, it's only going to hurt me in the long run. So, what decisions do I need to make up front, like to meet the immediacy of those needs, the ones that I can meet? What do I need to do up front? And what do I not know about how to meet those needs or how to go about getting those needs met? Or what do I not know about my own body and my own feelings or whatever that I need to learn in order to take the actions necessary to kind of resolve some of that discomfort? That's kind of what this is making me think of just on the personal level. Like there are signs that our body is always giving us, which is probably what this whole Pentacles thing is alluding to too, because Pentacles is also about, like they said, your body, your physical body, the tangible experience of being alive. It's not idealistic. It's a living experience beyond just the emotional. And are you paying attention? Basically, like, are you paying attention? Are you noticing your own patterns and habits and how that's affecting you and your not just your productivity, but like it affects you in so many different ways. Like being dysregulated, not saying that being dysregulated is a bad thing in and of itself, but there is an effect that dysregulation has on the rest of your life. There are some situations where you're just going to be dysregulated and that is what it is, and in fact that dysregulation is what's helping you survive the chaos of that moment. um the dysregulation is helping get you to the next moment, but in the moments where you're not dysregulated, or in the moments where maybe there's not in the moments where dysregulation isn't serving you, like notice the impact that it has on all of the things that you want to do or you want to achieve for yourself, or the opportunities that you could be taking but you can't because the dysregulation is getting in the way. Now, getting regulated is not the answer that I'm giving here, but maybe because the 7 of Pentacles is here, it is just asking us to reflect. Like it's just asking us to actually like be an active observer and participant an active participant in the self-reflection and observation instead of the dissociation that tends to happen with air signs. um Gemini especially, I think, can get so caught up in the anxiety and the what ifs and trying to kind of see so many different perspectives and angles of a situation that you forget to consider yourself and how you actually feel because you're trying to account for all of these other possibilities. So this is I did ask for some sober assessment. That's basically what this is saying. Like soberly assess where you're at, what's going on, what you need. Um Gemini second house. I think this is really telling me to invest in my body, especially as I'm navigating a new chronic illness diagnosis. Wow. I would agree. I think that's very spot on. Um I think that makes a lot of sense. I think for me, I think for me, what was coming up while I was reading through the books was like I've been contemplating, I don't know if I've said this already, but I've been contemplating using that 7 of Pentacles word. I've been contemplating top surgery, which is like a definite that needs to happen at some point, but I've also been contemplating bottom surgery, and it's surgery, right? Like before I had my little edible trip, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, like surgery, no big deal, let's do it. And then when I really thought about the cost um of of both, right? Like for example, and maybe this helps to frame all of these cards, but in order to feel better in my body and to live in a way that just feels more liberated for me personally, that looks like surgery is inevitable. Um, Now, on the practical side, if we're talking about pentacles, if we're talking about me having the sun and Mercury and Capricorn, on the practical side, I'm like, this is a long game. This is a very resource demanding game because it's not cheap. It's also relationally demanding because I will have to depend on somebody who can help take care of me. Like whenever I had my Achilles rupture and couldn't walk and physically had to depend on my parents at the time. But now I'm in a situation where I don't really know that I can depend on my parents for this particular thing because it's something I'm choosing for myself versus responding to an injury, right? So it's physically demanding in the sense that like it's a lot for bodies to recover from surgery. And now that I know that, it's like, damn, like I am someone who likes to be really physically active and I won't be able to do that for a long time. And building back up the strength and all of that afterwards and all of the care that I would have to take of myself and allow myself to be cared for, like it's a lot. And I think I underestimate the process of it all because I'm thinking about the long-term result, which is very much a long-term, long-lasting result. And once you get over the hump of all of the difficulties in the initial phase of it all, you're eventually going to be where you want to be, and there's a lot of a peace and a lot of stability to be found through the struggle. But the struggle itself shouldn't be overlooked and shouldn't be taken for granted and shouldn't be ignored. So that's kind of when I'm thinking about like the dysregulation of it all and like the process of healing, the journey of healing, whatever that looks like. The process of getting to safety, the process of seeking peace is not it's not a peaceful journey. Like uh the only way out is through. It feels very Saturn in that way. And if we want to talk about mutable sign stuff too, that's interwoven in all of this, it's the trusting the process, trusting that even though it doesn't look the way that you want it to look during the messiness and the dysregulation of it all, you have to trust that on the other end, like you will find a way to get to where it is that you need to go through trusting the journey and trusting the process, trusting yourself to get through it. So I think that really does speak to this card. It's like Ace of Pentacles is showing that there is an opportunity for change, for growth, for something new in a material sense, and that a lot can be gained from that opportunity if you step into it, if you move towards it, if you set up all of the ways to get there. It's just knowing that you're going to have to struggle at first, knowing that it's not going to be super comfortable, super straightforward at first. It's going to be a little rocky. And since we are talking about Mercury retrograde too, like you will have to potentially get it wrong or mess up, or some aspect of it will need to be redone, um, or will have to be rethought. You might start on something and then come up on some roadblocks and have to, circle back around. But the point is, it is worth it on the other end. I think it's just a matter of actually sorting out where you are now and what does or doesn't need to be done in order to get you to that place eventually, if you were to take advantage of this opportunity, whatever it is that's in front of you. So don't really know how all that ties into the stuff that I was saying about geopolitics. But I will say on a personal level, if we needed to know what the new moon means just for us as individuals, like yeah, it's giving like acceptance of the struggle that it takes to reach your goals. I think and that probably makes sense because Venus is going to enter Taurus as well, and Taurus and Cancer together, they don't like discomfort. They're not fans. And I would even add that maybe this is also saying something about the ways that we get in the way. Like, maybe this is also, maybe this isn't in the cards, but I'm just thinking astrologically too. Like, I feel like Mars and Leo, maybe just Mars and Leo in my chart because it's opposite Saturn, but Mars and Leo can be kind of a masochist. And I think Mars in general feels like it has to struggle and suffer and labor and toil in order for something to be worth it. And maybe there's something to be said between that Venus and Mars square coming up, that maybe it doesn't have to be all suffering all the time. You know, like maybe it doesn't just have to be put your head down and grind through. Cause again, that's also going to it's going to take a toll, right? It's like if I wanted to get top and bottom surgery at the same time, like my body would be toe up from the flow up, and it would take it wouldn't make sense, logically make sense to do that. You kind of have to run the marathon, not the sprint. Because if you just try to blow it all up at once, you have to recover a lot at once too. So maybe there's also something to be said for pacing yourself, for finding those glimmers and those joys along the way, right? Finding the things that are working along the way, finding the things that feel good along the way, giving back to yourself, or being in celebration with your community, um, celebrating the celebrating the small milestones along the way, and like making a really big deal out of those instead of just kind of bypassing them because you're more focused on this end goal. Like, you know, if I'm thinking in terms of surgery, because that's my perspective, it's like, okay, the surgery part of it, I just have to go to sleep and wake up. If I wake up, cool, big milestone. Okay. Like, celebrate the fact that we woke up. Because sometimes motherfuckers do not wake up from surgery, right? So big deal. And then there's the days that you have to spend in the hospital while you're being monitored. Cool. Get through those, get home, celebrate. Big deal. Now we're at home. Now we're working our way up to being able to like regain function of whatever limbs were involved. Okay, cool. Another celebration. Like, you gotta make a big deal out of the little things along the way that are really not very little at all. They're actually big deals, but they feel little or minor whenever I'm if you know they feel small and minor or inconsequential or whatever along the way, or just like for granted parts of the process, right? Like they seem like, well, yeah, duh, but in the long run, there's the excitement of the vision, right? Like I'm thinking of myself like being back in the gym, bench pressing however much, and like having a really full and well developed chest. Like I'm gonna have to get through the phase of taking the bandages off and everything being very concaved and sunken in while it's still recovering, and then dealing with the swelling and all of the things along the way. So it's like, yeah, you have to figure out ways to like measure your progress too. I think that's also to be said in these pentacles, and be in celebration of that progress. So those are the things that keep you motivated to keep going, instead of getting hung up on the setbacks or getting hung up on the things that go wrong or the things that need to be repaired or replaced or fixed along the way. It's like you just kind of just got to stick with it. So, and I think Elizabeth, you might have said that earlier, or it was Deb, somebody said, yeah, the keep going vibe, like you just got to keep going. Oh, I didn't see this. Deb, a meme of a Rider Waite deck full of just tower cards. Oops, all towers. That's funny. But yeah, it does have that keep going. The push through maybe doesn't have to be a push. Maybe the thing that gets you through is the gratitude for what's working, what's going well, what continues to go well. Um cuz yeah, I think just giving into the nihilism and giving into the defeatism of what's not working is a very sure way to demotivate you entirely. Like dopamine dopamine comes from the little wins along the way. Like, when you do a puzzle, we did a puzzle together at work, and whenever you find just one piece of the puzzle and you figure out where it goes and you get that little burst of, oh my god, we did it, keep going. Like you need that. You need that to be successful at anything. Because if you just get hung up on the fact that there's still so much puzzle left, why would you finish? When instead you could get excited about this one little piece. Oh, we got another one and another piece. Oh, we got another one. And I think, yeah, maybe that's related to like we were talking about with like legislation and any other political movements right now. Like we could also stand to acknowledge the people who are fighting, who are doing the work and the successes that they're having, or just being in celebration of the fact that certain things didn't get passed yet or haven't been passed yet, that there's still some time. Like, yeah, I think there's something to be said for celebrating the material wins as they are, even if they seem small and inconsequential. This also feels like a good anecdote to all of the uncertainty of this moment too, and of these transits. The uncertainty of what things will be like in the final moment or whatever, the moment of completion, like the uncertainty that also prevents you from starting in the first place. The uncertainty that also serves to talk you out of something or make you overthink something. Um yeah, shifting focus to what's actually happening right in front of you can also be something that battles against uncertainty in this moment as well. So let me see what y'all are saying. Sixth house Gemini, and my God, I'm having to contemplate how my work life balance affects my well being. Yes, I'm burnt out right now and it's just not fun. I have to make some shifts for sure. Love that. Yes, definitely agree and definitely feel that. Uh, I was having a why am I bothering moment when someone consulted on a case and I was able to direct someone focusing on analytic meaning of symptoms to a very real neurological issue that was blown off, and it made me grateful that I could see it. I love that too. Yes. Um someone comes into and I was able to direct someone. Yeah. Yeah. That's been something I've done a lot at work too, because sometimes I just don't feel like working when I'm at work, as we all do, many such cases. But then there are moments where I catch myself and I'm like, I have an opportunity right now to like I have an opportunity to make somebody's life easier through an already difficult process, getting enrolled in college, right? Sometimes I can be very Saturn where I'm just like, these are the things you need to do, and this is what needs to happen. It is what it is, figure it out, right? Sometimes I just feel like that. And I forget to like add a little bit of that charm or that little bit of softness or whatever compassion that's like, damn, like they're probably really excited to, you know, get an education. Maybe this is the first opportunity they've had to go back to school and learn something that they want to learn that's eventually going to hopefully better their lives in some kind of a way. And I am someone who is in a position where instead of just being a gatekeeper, I can help them figure out ways to get in and do the thing. So let me take advantage of the fact that I have influence in this moment. I have a role in getting this person closer to their goal. So let me like, even if it's just being nice, even if it's just offering again some empathy or compassion to them, or just like holding space for whatever emotions they have in the moment, or if it's telling them a trick to get through the process faster, whatever it is, like I have a role in this that I can just make someone's journey a little bit easier. So let me focus on that instead of focusing on the fact that, I've been here for 7 hours and I have 1 hour left to go and someone just walked in, stuff like that. I can make somebody else's day better by changing my own attitude. Um, The only way out is through for sure. Not losing sight of the long-term goal was what actually kept me committed to going through with surgery. Yes, absolutely. Like it's gonna suck at first, and that just is part of it. Has to get worse before it gets better. But then you have those moments where you really feel better. And it's like, wow. It's also like, whenever you've had a cold or stuffy nose for a long time and you can finally breathe again and you realize like, wow, I really took for granted the ability to breathe through both nostrils. Now I can finally breathe again. Incredible. This is all fascinating because Mars is my fourth house and we are moving at the end of summer, and I am having to make some upfront investment to make the new place what we want it to be. 1000% that. all of which will happen during Mercury retrograde, which is a very Mercury retrograde thing to do. So Gemini in the second house is money and long-term vision to make this place what we want it to be. Yes. And if I don't take care of myself during the transition, it will be really hard. Yes, yes, yes. You're getting it. It's landing. It's landing. We don't have to suffer. No unnecessary suffering. Dana used to say that a lot because we're both Capricorns and we just unnecessarily would suffer. And it's like, why am I doing that when actually I can do something, a little something that will make me feel better? Yes, there's pleasure and softness and rest and good food and care. Yes. Love that. Thank you. Yes, you are so welcome. Thank you. I like that. I appreciate this message. I approve of this message. I love Seven of Pentacles as the action step, and it's literally just to reflect. It's to reflect on what's going well, it's to reflect on what's going wrong in general. Um, I would argue because the way that these cards are set up, it's literally the Seven of Pentacles looking up at the Ace of Pentacles. So I would also add reflecting on the opportunity in the struggle, which I know sounds very, it's one of those what are they called? It's one of those things that, like, people say that sounds like bullshit, but it works. It works. It does help to figure out what the opportunity is. What am I learning from this situation that will benefit me? That will benefit future me. I'm thinking of empty platitudes. It sounds like one of those, but the truth is it's like I've used so many examples. I'm going to use another one. It's like whenever you're cooking and you don't want to cook because you're tired. It's going to take so long. Then you have to clean up the dishes and all that other stuff. Um but future you will be so happy that you got up and you made food for yourself, and when you eat it and it's delicious, and it's delicious because you made it the way that you wanted to make it. And just like, in The Sims, when The Sims, every time they cook, they get better at cooking. There's also that. Like, this is gonna help me next time that I need to cook because I've learned a new chopping technique. I don't know. I've instead of um putting the burner on too high, I realize I could actually take it down a couple notches, and then next time I make something, it'll be excellent. I don't know. There's also that. I could keep going, but I feel like this is solid for this new moon. It's almost like the opportunity, the new moon itself being the opportunity to create a new narrative for yourself in wherever your Gemini house is. And asking yourself, what do you need to actually make sure change happens? What do you need in order to change? What do you need in order to get better? What do you need to learn that maybe you think you already know well enough, but for some reason you still feel stuck? Like, if you still feel stuck, then you haven't learned everything that you need to learn. You don't know everything that you need to know, actually. I think the opportunity is to learn something that you didn't already know. Cool. Uh, and I think as far as what does this mean politically, um, I was looking at the Seven of Pentacles and trying to figure out how reflection actually helps in this moment. But I do think If we're talking about like narrative setting and storytelling and stuff like that, we should start telling, especially younger people who aren't old enough to remember 9/11. We should tell them about the whole weapons of mass destruction propaganda and how that we verifiably were able to say that that wasn't true. Like we should start talking about the time in most recent memory. In fact, we should just, this is what I'll say. So get all my thoughts together. We should keep talking to each other about how we got here. And we should keep talking to each other about events in recent history that we all remember well enough. Because remember, gaslighting, don't let them gaslight you. Don't let them gaslight these younger gens either. And remind older gens and everybody else, like, hey, remember last time they did this? This is what happened. We don't have to do this again. We don't have to go along with this again. Like we already got duped the first time. Some people. We already got duped the first time. We don't have to get duped again. Like we literally have been through this already, and talk about it with people so that they can connect the dots. It's literally, yes, exactly. It's the same propaganda. Like we cannot keep falling for the same propaganda. And maybe, just maybe, I'm going to will it into existence for us. Just maybe, with Jupiter, the sun, and the moon all together at this new moon with Mercury and Cancer, just maybe people will start to see through the propaganda moving forward. We'll go through the whole Mercury retrograde thing and people will realize that holding on to these narratives is not actually serving them. There's already people on the right wing, these right wing commentators who are also like, why are we doing this? Why is he doing this? You know? So maybe there is some hope that people start to see through all of this shit. I know a lot of people have a lot of resentments towards Israel already on both ends of the spectrum, so that's also helpful. We have to keep talking about it. Don't let people forget. If they're going to tell us never forget 9/11 stuff, then we need to also never forget the truth of what actually happened with all of that. Don't forget about the Patriot Act. Okay? Don't forget about all of the other ways that our data and information is insecure, and don't let them blame China for that. Keep talking about Palantir and Peter Thiel and all them people, and Elon and them. Don't let people forget about Elon, because now that he's not in the government in the same way, people will very quickly forget that he's not our friend. Like we got to keep reminding people, keep talking about this stuff. We can't stop talking about it just because people aren't listening now. We have to keep talking about it. I remember being attacked by colleagues for my anti-war and anti-torture stance. What? Very curious where Gemini and Cancer are in that USA chart for the next 6 months you pulled a few weeks back. Yes. So Gemini is in the 10th house of the Aries ingress chart, and Cancer is in the 11th house. And I believe we had Mars and Cancer in that chart. Mars was in Cancer and the moon was in Libra in the second house too. So the Mercury retrograde is happening between the 10th and 11th houses of the Aries ingress chart. 10th house having to do with leadership, leaders in countries, and the 11th house had to do with Congress, I believe. So are they going to try to impeach Trump again? I mean, impeaching him is kind of useless if they don't do anything else after that, but maybe they try to impeach him again, and then maybe they actually do something about it after that. I don't know. I would like to see it. uh no, for real, they can't even get new propaganda. Arrogant as hell, just like the is not real playbook. Exactly. That's the other thing. It's like this isn't even y'all aren't even trying. And the reason that they're not even trying is because they're like, who gonna check me? And I don't blame them for saying that, who's gonna check me, because we're not checking them. So we need to check them. Somebody needs to check them. I don't know what that looks like. I'm not the guy for that. I just read the stars, but it's splitting MAGA in really weird ways, and we love to see it. They are trying to avoid using the phrase weapons of mass destruction, just switching around the words a little to obscure the relevance. Exactly, because they could just say that again, and then it would like awaken everyone like a sleeper cell to say, "Hey, wait a second, didn't we do this already?" So instead, it's well, Iran's violating nuclear whatever. It's like, no, we're violating. We were literally in talks, in diplomatic conversations with them, and just blew all that up for no reason because Bibi Netanyahu wants to do whatever he want and go fucking rogue. And then there are those of us who were protesting Gulf War One in the early 90s. We've been here before many times. Many times. This is what we do. In the 2000s, the phrase was unpopular even then, yeah. Which is so weapons of mass destruction. So we're the only ones allowed to have weapons of mass destruction? That's what that sounds like to me. Hello? Damn, not the USA with the same planets as me, child. Just this year. If that was near your birthday, that might be part of the reason why. Virgo rising, Sun in Aries. Someone sent me footage of a crow literally ripping an Israeli flag off its pole. Period. The birds get it. The birds always know. The crows always know. I think that video came out last year, but it's still evergreen. Period. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? Oh, if anybody watching this now or later can help me out, I have a friend with a need. I have a friend who needs a new litter box for their 2 cats. So if anybody can help out with that, please message me. I'm also willing to chip in. We can go halvesies or go 3 ways or whatever and get my friend a litter box. They are also struggling to find work, so it would be nice to just do a little something. They will take money as well. And it could go towards their GoFundMe also. So let me know. I told them I would ask. So thank you. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. I just got it. I'll respond once I get off here. Lo, your birthday is next week. Oh my goodness. Happy early birthday. Happy early birthday. I know it's a lot of y'all birthdays coming up. You summer babies. Yes. Okay. Cool. Do y'all need anything else from me today? I have been on my bike. I did 11 miles yesterday and today. And I think, did I ride Friday? I didn't ride Friday. I rode Thursday on Juneteenth. That was great. That was great. Okay. Yeah, weird time for a birthday. Chaotic in true Gemini fashion, you right, but we ball. Cool. Okay. Yeah, if anybody else wants to help out with the litter box situation, or if anybody just wants to donate to my friend's GoFundMe, please message me. I'm gonna make another post about it as well. So cool. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Thank you for your patience. I'm also cat sitting for Madison, so I had to go take care of the kitties after the ride earlier. So that gave me a little extra time to not have to rush. So thank y'all for joining me when you did. Thanks for listening. Thanks for participating in the chat and being patient through trying to figure out what the hell these cards mean. I fuck with y'all the long way. I will see you next week when we can all complain about Taurus transits again. Yay! All right. See y'all next time. Bye.